behind you.
You can just go through it.
Prototyping with are some flexible displays. So this is actually a flexible display here. It's like e-ink, the types of things that you would see on digital books and so on. And we see these evolving into color displays, something that you might be able to roll up or fold. So in the future, we'll see more and more of these surface-type computing environments where we can really share and collaborate together in an easy, open way. I have my Slate tablet here, and I'm going to put it down, and it's showing some of the documents that I've collected. Some people may want to use a phone instead to share and store a lot of their information. The phones in the future are going to be incredibly powerful computing devices in their own right. So they can also put their phone down and share the information that they've gathered.
Government of Foxhall, 4421 Gainsborough.
Senior DCPD, blue and white.
Now, this is a photographer's lightbox application. Again, I can use both of my hands to kind of interact and move photos around. But what's even cooler is that if I have two fingers, I can actually grab a photo and then stretch it out like that really easily. I can pan, zoom, and rotate it effortlessly. I can do that grossly with both of my hands, or if I can do it just with two fingers on each of my hands together. If I grab the canvas, I can kind of do the same thing. Stretch it out. I can do it simultaneously where I'm holding this down and gripping on another one, stretching this out like this. Again, the interface just disappears here. There's no manual. This is exactly what you kind of expect, especially if you haven't interacted with a computer before. Now, when you have initiatives like the $100 laptop, I kind of cringe at the idea that we're going to introduce a whole new generation of people to computing with kind of this standard mouse and Windows pointer interface. This is something that I think is really the way we should be interacting with the machines from this point on. Now, of course, I can bring up a keyboard. And I can bring that around, put that there. Now, obviously, this is kind of a scanning keyboard, but of course, I can rescale it to make it work well for my hands. And that's really important because there's no reason in this day and age that we should be conforming to a physical device. I mean, that leads to bad things like RSI. I mean, we have so much technology nowadays that these interfaces should start conforming to us. I mean, there's so little applied now to actually improving the way we interact with interface from this point on. This keyboard is probably actually really the wrong direction to go. You can imagine in the future, as we develop this kind of technology, a keyboard that kind of automatically drifts as your hand kind of moves away and kind of really intelligently anticipates which key you're trying to stroke with your hands. This is something called Whirlwind. It's done by NASA. Now, it's we've all seen Google Earth. This is kind of an open source version of that. There are plugins to be able to load in different data sets that NASA's collected over the years. But as you can see, I can use the same two-finger gestures to kind of go down and go in really seamlessly. There's no interface again. It really allows anybody to kind of go in and just does what you kind of expect, you know. Again, there's just no interface here. The interface just kind of disappears. I can switch to different data views. That's what's neat about this app here. There you go. NASA's really cool. They have these hyperspectral images that are kind of false colored, so it's really good for determining vegetative views. Well, let's go back to this. Whoops. Now, the great thing about mapping applications, it's not really kind of 2D, it's kind of 3D. So again, with a multi-point interface, you can kind of do a gesture like this. So you can kind of be able to tilt around like that, you know. It's not just simply relegated to the kind of 2D panning in motion. Now, this gesture that we developed, again, is just kind of putting two fingers down, it's kind of defining an axis of tilt, and I kind of tilt up and down that way. That's just something we just came up with on the spot. You know, it's probably not the right thing to do, but it's such interesting things you can do with this kind of interface. And it's just so much fun playing around with, too.
consider this. Instead of using one of today's more popular compact devices to get directions to where you're going, why not use a device the size of a small car to do the same job?
I'm actually wearing the device right now, and we've sort of cobbled it together with components that are off the shelf, and that, by the way, only cost $350 at this point in time. I'm wearing a camera, just a simple webcam, a portable battery-powered projection system with a little mirror. These components communicate to my cell phone in my pocket, which acts as the communication and computation device. And in the video here, we see my student Pranav Mistry, who's really the genius who's been implementing and designing this whole system. And we see how this system lets him walk up to any surface and start using his hands to interact with the information that is projected in front of him. The system tracks the 4 significant fingers. In this case, he's wearing simple marker caps that you may recognize. But if you want a more stylish version, you could also paint your nails in different colors. And basically tracks these 4 fingers and recognizes any gestures that he's making, so he can just go to, for example, a map of Long Beach, zoom in and out, etc. The system also recognizes iconic gestures, such as the take a picture gesture, and then takes a picture of whatever is in front of you. And when he then walks back to the Media Lab, he can just go up to any wall and project all the pictures that he's taken, sort through them and organize them and resize them, etc. Again, using all natural gestures. And so Pranav turns the page of the book and can then see additional information about the book, reader comments, maybe sort of information by his favorite critic, etc. If he turns to a particular page, he finds an annotation by maybe an expert of a friend of ours that gives him a little bit of additional information about whatever is on that particular page. You can get video annotations of the events that you're reading about. You can get the latest sports scores, etc. As you interact with someone at TED, maybe, you can see a word cloud of the tags, the words that are associated with that person in their blog and personal web pages. In this case, the student is interested in cameras, etc. Delayed, that the gate has changed, etc. And if you need to know what the current time is, it's as simple as drawing a watch on your arm. So